We're here at the Global FinTech Fest 2025, the epicenter of all things innovative in finance. I'm your host, Gautam Srinivasan, and I'm here at the ISG or In Solutions Global booth. It's a FinTech pioneer in the payments as a service space and also a regulatory solutions provider. With me is Adelia Castellino, co-founder and managing director at ISG, and she's going to talk about everything on payment and finance for today and tomorrow. Adelia, great to have you with us.
Thank you, Gautam.
All right, let's start by talking about the launch, which I've just seen below, the Genius Sqora. I'm not going to ask you to talk about specifics. I'm going to ask you about the vision. How does the launch of Genius Kora align with ISG's long-term vision for the payments industry?
So Gautam, let me give you a brief background in terms of what this launch is all about. This launch is about the omni-channel experience of onboarding the businesses for digital payments. And when we speak about omni-channel, we look at all businesses, we look at all touch points and make sure that the experience is unique. At the same time, it is very authentic. What is very important in onboarding is you identify the customer for what they do, you identify the customer for their personality, and you make sure that they are enabled for the businesses they are really deserving. Now, what have we really launched? We have made the broken journeys, and currently if you see the way our digital transformation has happened, it has happened over a period of time. And in the process, be it financial institutions, fintechs have innovated a lot. But ultimately, what is the customer getting out of it? At points, sometimes we feel that they get broken journeys. And this is the pain point that we are trying to resolve, making sure that while we give a seamless experience to the customer, we do not overlook the compliances and the regulations, because in a payment industry, this is very important. We are dealing with money. And the launch is all about how do we do the heavy lifting using agentic AI. How does the AI agent help in building a seamless journey and at the same time make sure that your regulations and your compliances and customer experience is unified. So this was the launch as far as what you just saw in our booth.
Fantastic. You've seeded a lot of talking points, which I'm going to ask you to explain in detail. When we talk about customer journeys and the onboarding experience, everything has to be seamless. Payments has to be seamless. In that context, how does the partnership with IBM help ISG in its mission? As you mentioned, there are a lot of pain points still in the payments ecosystem. How does this partnership with IBM help ISG address those pain points?
Yeah, IBM does not need any introduction. You know very well that IBM is a hardcore technology partner and they are leading in governance. So we find that their governance model, their infrastructure model, and their go-to-market strategies in a partnership model, they were working well with our DNA and with our vision. So when we selected IBM, the whole purpose of this selection was that they give us the orchestra layer and the platform on which we are able to now, with our domain expertise, build the agentic AI agents with their support and make sure that we are able to build ethical, responsible AI as far as the services are concerned. So this is a big relationship that we selected, and we find that their principles are matching with our principles and the regulatory guidelines. And this orchestra layer is something that is truly helping us in building these agents.
It's a match made in business heaven.
It's a match made in business.
You've spoken about agentic AI, and AI is truly evolving from an automation to an autonomy perspective. The question is, where are we headed next? So in terms of wrapping up this conversation by asking you to look at the crystal ball, how is ISG looking at embracing AI innovations for the future? After agentic AI, where do we go next?
Yeah, so when we look at autonomous, and I think these are very valid points and words, when we are looking at embracing AI for the future, what we need to be mindful is adoption by the industry. We are building it for the industry. So while we are building it for the industry, we need to make sure that we follow all the guiding principles of the regulations. It is basically we are dealing with humans. We need to be humane in our approach. We need to make sure that there is transparency, and we need to make sure at the end of the day we deal with fairness and equality.
Fantastic. Code that follows a code. That's the message coming from you. Adelia, thank you so much for joining us here at the Global FinTech Fest 2025. Joining me is Siddharth Castellino, VP of Emerging Technologies at ISG, and we're going to pick his brains to understand what's new and what's hot. Siddharth, great to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, let's talk about the big news break, which is Genius Sqora. We saw the launch downstairs. Encapsulate for our viewers what it's all about.
So, Genius Kora basically is an omni-channel onboarding experience that we want to give as an offering to the market. So, we noticed that there were a lot of gaps or problems in the existing onboarding journeys. And to address this problem, this is exactly why we've actually created Genius Sqora. It is going to be your one-stop go-to solution for onboarding. You will have customers, you will have who want maybe credit card services, you will have merchants who probably want a payment gateway service, an e-commerce service. All of those onboarding services will be provided to you on one single platform, and that was our goal from Genius Sqora.
All right, but onboarding is not as straightforward as some of the viewers might think it is. There are a lot of complexities when it comes to onboarding. So how is Genius Sqora going to take care of issues when it comes to, say, scalability or trust or compliance? What would you say?
So a very unique proposition of Genius Sqora is that it is built around agentic AI. So agents themselves will provide this aspect about scalability. Let me give you an example. So what happens is, if you think about humans themselves, the previous process for onboarding or risk underwriting would be where a human would have to actually manually go through the application. He has a limitation. He cannot be awake 24/7. He cannot concurrently process multiple applications, and so on. As well as the computational power of a human cannot be compared to a machine. So here comes the beautiful part about AI agents. Scalability is definitely taken care of. They are available 24/7, computationally extremely strong, and concurrently can process probably let's say millions
of transactions.
It's probably going to be ridiculous. But now, if we speak about trust and compliance, as you're speaking about, here what we've done is we've also kept a human in the loop. So we don't want to completely give away or do away with humans, as you would like to say.
All right, which leads me to my next question, because ISG has a lot of customer segments that it caters to. So which customer segment will benefit the most when it comes to Genius Sqora?
Genius Sqora is going to be a one-stop solution for all customers. So right now, while we're thinking about merchants, and we've actually created the journey just looking at a merchant, but we will be extending this to our credit card customers. We'll be extending this to bill payers who would want to actually pay their bills. Also, what we were thinking about is that we will now target segment-wise industries. So that would be your educational sector. They would benefit from this. Hospitality sector. We speak about even in terms of insurance or even in terms of wealth management. Each of these industries basically have their own separate workflows or own separate onboarding processes or experiences. We want to kind of create a unified platform for this. That is what we were exactly thinking. This just has to be a one-stop.
All right, as we wrap up this conversation, Siddharth, what kind of agents have you built and what problem statements are they addressing?
That's a great question, Gautam. So the agents that we've actually built look at authentication, they look at verification, they look at fee recommendation and risk scoring. So here we've used a next generation concept of multi-agent orchestration. We will have one parent agent which kind of works with all these other child agents to perform what a risk underwriter would normally perform as a human task. So that is what is now going to be done completely by AI agents for this unified onboarding experience that you will actually have.
Well, that's Siddharth Castellino painting us a picture about Genius Sqora and its role in the evolving payments landscape in India and around the world. Siddharth, thank you so much for joining us here at the Global FinTech Fest.
Thank you so much for having me.